Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. This is Dan Stober from Global Knowledge. I'm the Global Portfolio Director for DevOps and Scrum here at Global Knowledge. And today we're going to be talking to you about mastering your Agile transformation with Scrum and DevOps. We're going to give everybody just another minute to go ahead and join. With us today is Victoria from PeopleCert, and she's going to be conducting our presentation today. So in just a moment, I'm going to hand it over to Victoria while we give the rest of the crowd just another minute to go ahead and join the webinar. So one moment, please, and we'll get started. Okay, and just this is Dan again. Just a reminder for everybody today, the webinar is being recorded. Everybody will get an email with a link to the recording for everybody registered for the webinar. And today we are very, very pleased to have Victoria Alexiou from PeopleCert join us today to talk about mastering your Agile transformation with Scrum and DevOps. She's going to be talking about the PeopleCert Scrum and PeopleCert DevOps products and how they can help your organization with your Agile transformation. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Victoria. Thanks so much.
Thank you a lot, Dan, for having me. And hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. A very quick overview for myself and a quick introduction. My name is Victoria. I'm working with PeopleCert for almost 4 years now. And currently, I am the product manager for the Scrum certification scheme. I've done some training and certification on my own. I hold a couple of certifications you might recognize here, ITIL or DevOps. Today we are going to talk about Agile transformation. We'll start by defining what Agile transformation is. Then we will see the challenges that typically organizations face when embarking into the journey. Then we'll talk about how to master those challenges, how to overcome those. And this is where we will also discuss about the capabilities accelerator, which you can have in your own organization to master the challenge and have the capabilities needed. Then we will see how Scrum and DevOps can help for that and why they're ideal for an Agile transformation and how they work greatly with one another. And then we will dive deeper into the benefits of DevOps and Scrum. And also we will introduce you our DevOps and Scrum solution. And we will wrap everything up with how to stay ahead of the curve and some evidence of professionals and organizations that have embarked in their certification journeys. As I said, I work for PeopleCert, and in case you are not familiar with us, we are an examination institute and a test owner, which means that we deliver examinations and develop examinations and certification programs. So far, we have delivered more than 5.5 million exams across more than 200 countries in at least 25 different languages, and our portfolio is above 600 different qualifications. We have, through our partners like Global Knowledge, more than 25,000 test venues globally. As of 2014, we offer online web proctored exams that can be taken anytime, any place, 24/7. And we are trusted by the biggest brands in the certification and many of the Fortune 500 organizations for the upskilling and reskilling of their employees through our partners like Global Knowledge. A quick overview of our business and IT qualifications portfolio. This is where we have certification programs in IT service management. Most of you might be familiar or already certified with ITIL. We have Prince 2, we have our Scrum, DevOps, Lean Six Sigma solutions. and software developer that is coming up, and much more expanding in various verticals and functions that an organization has and needs. And now let's move to the main gist of today's discussion, which is Agile Transformation. Before I begin, I want us to distinguish between Agile Transformation and Agile Adoption and set some ground rules. So that when we discuss about Agile Transformation, we are all on the same page. So what are the key differences between Agile Adoption and Agile Transformation? Agile adoption is typically a very quick process because it requires short-term or temporary planning, and that is because we focus on a very specific thing that we are changing. It can be a process or it can be just a team. And because it is very localized, the effort and the change, this is why we don't see any change in culture. And if we see, it's only to that specific team. Or not even anything. And when it comes to organizational change, typically we won't have any evidence of that. And we do see some productivity gains that can go all the way up to 100%. On the contrary, when we are talking about an Agile transformation, this is a much bigger journey. It's a slow journey. It requires long-term planning. And that is because it affects and it is about the entire organization. It's not just saying that now our software development team is going to be a Scrum team, or that our software developers or part of them are going to be, I don't know, have a couple of DevOps engineers. It's something bigger. It is about the HR being agile. It is about business being agile. It is about top management being agile. So here we see a change in the culture that has a widespread impact and very significant organizational change. So in a nutshell, I say that when you adopt Agile, this is when you do Agile, and when you transform, this is when you become Agile. This is being Agile. So Agile adoption is me doing Agile, which means I have an Agile process or an Agile team. Agile transformation is being Agile, having an organization who's Agile. And a little bit, and let's formalize a little bit more what an Agile transformation is. It is the sustained organization-wide process that helps both in the professionals and the organization take that much needed mindset shift in order to start reaping the full benefits of agility. There is a quote that I love that says, Agile is not another process. Just doing the right steps will not guarantee the results. With Agile, we're not baking a cake. We are starting a movement. And this is very true to Agile and the nature of Agile, and also to what makes an Agile transformation a very lengthy process that requires a lot of planning. And we typically also see a lot of missteps. Now, why do organizations go under Agile transformation? The main reason is that in the volatile times that we live in, and we can all go back and remember our pre-COVID days and how education was different, how work was different, how going to the grocery store was different. And for all those traditional organizations that had more of an industrial structure, for them to survive and be able to thrive in such changing and volatile markets, and successfully manage the democratization of value definition and delivery, it is essential to go through an Agile transformation so they are able to respond faster to change, to adopt and adapt to conditions, to go into new opportunities, grab them, and also avoid any threats. In its core, when we are talking about Agile transformation and moving from more traditional structures and a more waterfall approach, we have the shift in the company culture. You cannot transform without changing your mindset, without changing your culture. And if you manage to do that, this is where you start seeing cross-functional and self-managed and self-organized teams. You see your people working with increased collaboration. You will start removing additional layers of management that you don't need. You reduce the processes and the planning, and you get a very you focus on your customer interactions. And through all of those, you're also embracing a lot of creativity and innovation. Now, how about the challenge that goes with an agile transformation? As we said, just taking the right steps, just taking what is needed, reading through guides, what it is prescribed is not always enough. And in many cases, even though we take the right steps, we see many people who fail. McKinsey did a very nice research, and we are going to present with you with the 7 missteps that most organizations make during their agile transformation journeys. I'll start with the first one, which is misalignment between aspiration and value of the agile transformation. Second, agile is not treated as a strategic priority. Then we see that organizations do not put culture first. And of course, if you don't put culture first, most likely you will not invest in the talents of your people. We see the DNA of the organization not being fused with experimentation and iteration, which is essential because when you're doing agile, your goal is to develop things fast, go to the market as fast as possible, have your MVP, and if you fail, it's fine. You need to fail fast so that you can recover even faster and start producing the maximum value even faster. Then not having a stable backbone to support that agile journey, that is extremely crucial as well. Such transformation initiatives require a lot of moving pieces, require a lot of people to start changing how they are used to work and what they know, the way they report their success, the way their success is perceived. So we need a stable backbone for that. And also not thinking through the pace and the strategy for scaling. Initially, you might have said, okay, I need 5 waves to complete my agile transformation. And as you go, which is also part of being agile, adapting, understanding the conditions and changing and responding to the new demands or arising requirements. If you see that you need a sixth wave or a 7th or an 8th, you need to include them. So thinking through the pace and if needed, changing the pace and the strategy for scaling, it is very important. Now I want to do to you a question. Out of all the case studies, all of the reports, all of the surveys that have been conducted globally, whether it is McKinsey, KPMG, Accenture, which one of those 5 missteps do you believe it is the one that everyone gets wrong? And if they get it wrong, this is the exact reason why they fail. It is the biggest problem and the biggest mistake an organization can do. Giving you a couple of seconds to think, and it's culture. Culture is the greatest mistake that organizations do. And by culture, I mean not putting culture first, because culture is king. When we are talking about transforming and being agile, that means being more open, being more transparent, having more ownership, having increased collaboration. You cannot have all of those if they are not part of the culture. And typically what affects culture the most is when you do not invest in the talents of your people. And I think that we've all have seen this corporate dilemma. We might have even liked it on LinkedIn at some point, where it's a discussion between the CEO and the CFO. And the CFO says, how about if we start investing in our people and they leave? And the CEO responds, okay, what if we don't and they actually stay? Imagine having an organization of people who are used in traditional layers, in traditional management, perhaps even micromanaging. and tell them, okay, tomorrow you're going to become agile and you're going to use Kanban or whatever else we prescribe them to use, but we never taken the time to invest in them, help them understand why they need to shift, and not giving them the aspiration and the value of that transformation, and not equipping them with the right skills in order to be able to A, use the tools, and B, and most importantly, foster the environment that we need for Agile to be a success. So some of the main challenges that we've seen, and we are going to start with how Agile is today. And this is from the 14th Annual State of Agile report. So we've seen that Agile has matured. Almost 95% of the organizations that participated in the annual state of Agile said that we have adopted Agile, we are using it. And what is striking is that 84% of them says that our competency with Agile is below average. And that signals opportunities for them to improve through supporting their employees, whether it is training or coaching. And if we go and look and take a deeper dive into the actual challenges and what organizations have reported in the annual state of Agile, we see that 45% of them say that, you know, my processes and practices are inconsistent across teams. We don't have one process, one practice that we use. So we speak different languages. We have the potato case. And the organizational culture, we are lacking that. We are also lacking the skills and experience with Agile methods. And this is 41% of the organizations, which means that 4 out of 10 of organizations that are using Agile don't have the skills and the experience to use it. Again, same percent that they don't have sufficient training or education. They're lacking that too. And a report that I find very striking, this is the survey on agility conducted by KPMG back in 2019. Out of all the organizations that participated, and they were the smaller ones that they would generate around 50 millions of USD in revenue, and bigger ones that were 10 billion and above. All of them reported that out of all my human capital, those that are ready for an Agile way of working, which means that they have the mindset, they have the skills, they have the experience, is only 15%. That's 15%, which means that if in this webinar we have 100 of us, and all of us work in organizations that are Agile transformed, and we are working with Agile, only 15 of us actually know how to be Agile. And even though the numbers might be striking, and yes, there are a lot of challenges, that does not mean that we cannot master them and we cannot overcome the challenge that goes with Agile transformation, so that we can have a better level of maturity and make it a success for our organization. We have identified 4 key success factors in an Agile transformation. Everything starts with leadership. You need leadership buy-in. You need the support from top management. And it's not just their support and their buy-in. It's for them to understand that also the leadership needs to transform and change, because traditional industrial age management will not be effective in an Agile organization, because we will need increased collaboration, visibility, transparency, start decentralizing, and all of those are going to be also captured in the culture. And we're going to see that in the culture of the organization. And that needs the leadership to be involved, highly involved. Then we have the organization itself. And this is where we have our capabilities, which are embedded in the organization's structure, policies, practices, and cultural beliefs. We need a better health for our organization, whether this is through employee reviews or support functions or better onboarding of the employees. Product and business. there needs to be a clear product strategy. We are not just building products for the sake of building them, because we can all remember the case of Kodak, that they insisted on using film when they had the first prototypes for digital cameras buried in their labs. So there needs to be a connection between strategy and what we do daily, so that whatever we produce and where we spend our times helps the organizational strategy. And this is where we will start seeing more innovation happening. We need value streams. We need to have measurability, and we need to have a sunset strategy and focus on the overall health of the business. And last is the delivery. And this is where we focus on the practices and the processes. And this is where we want to deliver high quality value to the customer as fast as we can. And this is where frameworks, methodologies come in. This is where you see organizations adopting Scrum, DevOps, Kanban, Lean, Scrumban, extreme programming, and many more. Now we will move on to what are the pillars that make up an agile operating model. As McKinsey sets an agile operating model, it has the 4 pillars that are structure, people, processes, technology, and all 4 of them comprise a strategy. We see many organizations that are very, very focused on the technology. They spend a lot of money in buying the best tools, the best technology that is out there. And even though they do it, at the same time they fail. I remember back in 2019, I was in the Fusion event of ITSMF US in New Orleans, and we were discussing with some participants that were from a state, which I'm not going to name right now, and they have invested heavily in an ITSM tool, and they ended up having the tool for a couple of years in their arsenal. No one wanted to touch it, because no one knew how to make the most value out of that. And at some point, they met a consultant that said, you know what you're missing is a framework to go behind that. You need your people to be able to back this up, and your people need to be trained on ITIL. And that helped them, and they start seeing value, and they stop being afraid of using the ITSM tool, and they start integrating it and start seeing more value from their digital services. And without the buy-in of our people, we are not able to do anything. Even if we say tomorrow I'm agile and everyone is using Kanban boards because I want visibility on everything, if your people, me, you, don't see the benefits, don't see why we are doing it, don't have the skills needed to properly use a Kanban board, we will just end up with tons of boards all over with post-its about anything, and most likely we might even end up doing drawings and giving notes to one another without actually using it in the purpose that it should. And we believe a lot here in PeopleCert that is the people that is the success and the secret ingredient for a successful agile transformation recipe. Because if you have the buy-in of your people, if they support you, if they truly see why you're doing the agile transformation, yes, you will see a change in culture. Yes, you will see a change in the processes, because it will be them that they will say, okay, let's redesign this process. Let's make it more agile. Let's see how we can start working on value-added activities. Let's start reducing our waste. And you will also see the structure changing, because you will have a change in people. So you won't need so many management layers. You will have increased visibility. And then you will also have better usage of your technology. And how do we get our people where we need them to be? How can I and you and all of us have the necessary skills and what we need? And how do I take that across the organization? And this is where we are going to talk about the capabilities accelerator and how it can help change your organization from within in developing the capabilities you need through your people. So here is my friend John Doe, who is climbing up the ladder of the 5 steps needed in order to create those new skills, behavior, and mindsets across your organization to master your agile transformation and to have a successful agile operating model. So the first step that Joe is going to take is to identify the number of trainers he needs, and he's either going to hire them or he's going to develop them from within. And he might decide to do it on his own, or he might decide to partner with an organization like Global Knowledge to help upskill and reskill the people he needs as key within his organizations to help others and act as champions. Then he's going to define the new agile roles that his organization needs, and he's also going to write down what success looks for each role. So everyone knows exactly what their responsibilities is and what it is expected for them. After that, John is going to create the learning and career paths for the entire staff. Everyone should know how to become better, how to learn, how to become more effective at what they're doing, and what career path they have, and how they can advance or move to different departments so that they can cross their knowledge from one department to the other. And then he's going to enable continuous learning and improvement, because many organizations might hire consultants or create a learning and development team that is going to focus on training their staff. They might do it once and then it goes to bed. And that's fundamentally wrong. A, because you have more people joining who never had the opportunity to go through the training, and B, as your organization evolves, you need to learn and unlearn. And this is where we need continuous learning and improvement. And the final step is that John is going to design a run an organization-wide effort in order to raise the agile skills he needs and ensure that every single person that joins after has the appropriate onboarding so that they are up to speed and they know exactly the culture of the organization. They have all the skills and the right mindset to be part of the team and be also advocates of that culture. Now let's do a wrap up of what we've discussed. We talked about agile transformation, what exactly it is and what it isn't. We laid out the main challenges when transforming, with the number one being not putting the culture first, and also with that not investing in your people and not training them enough. The 4 pillars of a successful agile operating model, and the capabilities accelerator, so that you can start creating those skills and those behaviors in your organization. As I said during the introduction stage in our agenda, we believe that Scrum and DevOps can join their forces and help an organization go through that agile transformation. If you remember in the 4 pillars, when we were talking about the processes at the end, this is where Scrum and DevOps play a key role. But because, sorry, oh, what happened here? Wrong slide, okay. But because Scrum in its core has 4 key values: courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness, and DevOps has culture, automation, lean, measurement, and sharing, or CALMS. It is those values that they have that are also a great part of culture, in changing the culture and putting culture in the focal, as a focal point. And we also see that Scrum and DevOps can work greatly together, and it is a fact. When we have a DevOps team, This means that we have people that are either, we can have the developers, sorry, not the DevOps team. When we have a department or an entire unit that has embraced DevOps, we see the one side being the engineers, all the dev people, the ones that are going to actually write the code, build the software, build the digital service that we want. And on the other side, we have the ops, the operations, whether this is SQA testers or engineers, etc. And we see a wall of confusion between the two. And in order to take down that wall of confusion, or at least open a window, what we need are tools and culture. And the balance between these two is 25 tools, 75 culture. And typically your developers, because they're focused on developing products, most likely they will be using Scrum, because Scrum is the #1 methodology used for agile software development. And that makes it also the minimum dev in DevOps. Scrum and DevOps share also some common ground, which is faster delivery cycles, smaller increments or releases using feedback to improve. We have our retrospectives, we have our daily scrums, and in DevOps we have 3 ways of giving feedback. Then Scrum, as we said, with software products, it's the most used methodology. It's the key element for any team that develops and delivers digital products. And DevOps can bring added value when it is combined with Scrum for the development team, as it gives a different perspective. You see the whole value stream, and DevOps also uses systems thinking, and every member of a Scrum team, through the use of DevOps, when they are working on their product backlog items, they see it more holistically. They have a more end-to-end view from the point of the value stream. And that is very, very important, because a couple of slides back, we discussed about product strategy and how our daily work is closely knit with the product strategy. So we don't waste time on delivering products or increments that are not aligned with our strategy. Now, let's focus a little bit on Scrum and DevOps, starting with DevOps, on why organizations use DevOps, what are the benefits, and how you can start embarking in your DevOps journey. So there are some very key benefits when using DevOps. First, you can you start from a point where you deliver waterfall projects, and now with DevOps, you do smaller batches. You do continuous and frequent deployments and deliveries. You go from having feedback cycles being very slow, very long, and having tons of reviews and approvals to real-time feedback. You go from a process-heavy and time-intensive management when you have any change request to a more collaborative approach in software development, and you see automated delivery pipelines, and you see the decisions being made by the teams when they actually work, when they're working, because they have those levels of freedoms and they have those boundaries within which they can work. So before DevOps, you would see things being organized based on the function, and you will have a lot of manual hands-off, a lot of silos and misaligned initiatives. But with DevOps, because we have increased collaboration, real-time feedback, this is where we see early stakeholder involvement across the value stream. We have a lot of cross-functional teams. And this is where we start changing the mentality and the culture. We no longer have silos, and the teams are aligned now to the business goals. So whatever they develop and whatever they do, it is aligned with the overall strategy. And some of the key benefits that organizations using DevOps have seen is higher quality deliverables, almost 60% of them. Around 50% have said that we have faster time to market, We have improved our deployment frequency. We have better team culture than before. We have increased collaboration across teams and faster recovery times. If you check online, Amazon, who is using DevOps as a practice in their software development, they have reached that automation and continuous deployment and delivery stage where they release code on their website every 11.7 seconds, which means that while you're browsing and you're checking to fill up your cart, whether you do your grocery shopping or any other type of shopping, by the time you are out, anywhere from 20 to 50 to 100 pieces of code will be live, and you will never feel any interruption. And the reason behind that is DevOps. Here in PeopleCert, we have our own solution in DevOps. We have our certification scheme, and we have an approach to DevOps. We offer hands-on content with real-life scenarios. We have a very clear bridge between DevOps and IT service management, because most organizations, most IT organizations, have adopted ITIL as their ITSM practice, and it has also a clear focus on organizational change management. Here in PeopleCert, we see DevOps as the DevOps full stack, and this is comprised by culture, practices, and automation. And for the entire full stack, we have 15 practices. And those 15 practices are connected to one specific full stack, especially if you go through the leadership course, which is where you learn how to lead a DevOps transformation initiative in your organization. This is where you see every single practice connected in every part of the full stack and how you can use it. And as you can see here in the 15 practices, I have highlighted some in blue. Those are the ones that work very well with Scrum, because our DevOps is designed to work with our Scrum. And the ones in purple are the ones that are referencing ITIL, because our DevOps is designed to work perfectly with ITIL. As Jenkins says, who's the author of the Phoenix Project, there is a natural symbiosis between the lean principles of DevOps and the way that IT organizations work today. And there is a quote that I love using, which is ITIL drives DevOps and DevOps improves ITIL. Organizations that adopt DevOps while they already have ITIL, they see better they start building better apps, they have more effective deployment, and they see a higher level of customer satisfaction. So they create better products, they're more effective in deploying them, and they create even more value for their customers. And how can we make that happen? That happens when you encourage cultural change, because DevOps focuses a lot in culture. If we remember, one of the 5 values of DevOps in CALMS is culture. Everyone needs to be open, collaborative, and working towards the same goal. Remember, we need to focus on the product strategy when we do our daily work. And we have a one-team mentality. No more silos, no more hiding behind any walls of confusions and pointing fingers. The PeopleCert DevOps scheme currently has 2 modules that are out, the DevOps fundamentals. This is where you get all the knowledge that you need to understand what DevOps is, how to deliver, how to effectively deliver DevOps through the 15 practices that I showed earlier. And when you go to leadership, this is where you become the change agent, and this is where you lead the DevOps transformation initiative of your organization. And as the course goes, it also works with real-life examples, so that you are asked constantly to assess your organization, where you are now, so that you can start understanding what steps are needed for a successful DevOps transformation. Moving on to Scrum. Why Scrum and how? Why Scrum? Most organizations use Scrum, see some initial benefits, and those are key benefits that we see across. First of all, we have better quality in our products because feedback is continuously incorporated back in the products, which means that we produce at the highest quality possible. Increased ROI, whether it is a revenue or any other target that we have, because we are where we need to be sooner. This is where we see the value being produced faster, and that increases our ROI. Speed to market. Most people that have adopted Scrum and organizations deliver 30 to 40% faster to the customer. And all those, at the end of the day, gives us happier customers. We see increased customer satisfaction because they get products that fit the purpose. And of course, because Scrum has you working with sprints, so you have your time boxed event, you work in those 2 to 4 weeks, you do your daily Scrum, you have your retrospectives, you have all of your checks, you reduce the risk because you mitigate it and you avoid absolute project failure. Collaboration and ownership, it is increased, and it's also part of the values of Scrum. Now, our Scrum is fully aligned to the 2020 Scrum Guide. In case you don't know, the Scrum Guide was updated back at the end of 2020. It's very practical. It has a lot of interactivity with real-life situations through exercises and discussion topics. It's very lightweight. For the Scrum Master 2 course, we have included a self-assessment tool, which is what you can see on the right side of my screen, where Scrum Masters can take the quiz and understand in each skill that is needed for them, whether it is servant leadership, facilitation, coaching, etc., how they rank and where they need to improve. And of course, if you are an experienced Scrum Master and you want to go directly to the Scrum Master 2 level, you don't need to hold any other Scrum Master certificate. Currently, we have our Scrum Master 1 and 2 courses. In the second half of the year, we will have our Product Owner 1 and Product Owner 2 certifications. And by the end of the year, we will have our Scrum Developer certification live. With PeopleCert Scrum Master 1, this is where you start understanding what the role is, all the skills that you need in having a successful Scrum practice in your organization. And in Scrum Master 2, you get a deeper dive in the actual skills and in scaling Scrum. So far, what we've discussed in the second section, we've seen how DevOps and Scrum work together and why they work very well together. And then we went ahead and did a deeper dive in why organizations want Scrum and DevOps, what are the benefits they get through the adoption of both, and how our solutions are built, and also how our DevOps works greatly with ITIL. And now that we've seen all that, because at the end of the day, what we want is for every one of us to be able to stay ahead of the curve, to have what we need in order to become better professionals than the ones we are now. And that happens whether we like it or not, if we, wear the student hat again. Because all of those skills, whether it is the soft skills or the harder skills, we need to be trained. Of course, we can go out and browse and go through every online available resource. But when we are talking about Agile and embracing Agile, we need guidance, we need coaching, and we need to go through training and certification. And to that, I also want to give some numbers around the power of certification. And this is an Alexiou publication from 2019 from a survey that went ahead with organizations across the globe. So Organizations that have invested in either hiring certified professionals or training their employees and the entirety of their human capital to have them certified in specific skills, and especially in the areas of Agile or IT service management, DevOps, etc., they've seen an increased job efficiency. 83% of them said we are more efficient in what we are doing. Almost 80% said our employees are happier, they're more satisfied. We see better team communication. We see improved business competitiveness. We retain our staff better. We are able to win new contracts, enter new markets, and have better financial performance. And when you see that 80% of organizations said that when we trained and certified our people, we saw an improvement in team communication, and they're more satisfied and more efficient, this is where you understand that this is a step in the right direction. Investing in your people, as we were saying before, is a step towards the right direction in changing the culture and having a better organization than before. And now if we focus to the individuals, again, 84% said, I'm more efficient in what I'm doing. I'm better. I'm more satisfied with my job. I got to do new projects. I communicate better with my team members. 50% of them even got a salary raise or a new job or a promotion. So as professionals that we are out there, we want to invest in ourselves, and even if we are HR managers or learning development managers, we need to start focusing on building those capabilities accelerators within our organization and having our people trained and certified and going through courses that are tied with a certification gives us also added benefits. And I'm not only talking about the third-party validation, is through a certified course, through a training provider like Global Knowledge, what you get is all of those knowledge that you can find all over the place, connected for you, streamlined, and delivered in a way that can be applied yesterday, which means that you invest in your people, they give their time, typically 2 or 3 business days, nothing more. And when they come back to the office, they can start applying what they learned, and you see the benefits very, very fast. And to wrap things up, a little bit more about us. We focus a lot on having very, very high quality content, whether it is the actual exam or the knowledge covered in our certifications. We offer, as we said in the beginning, online exams, 24/7, 365 in many languages. Our research service Take-Two for stress-free exams. Digital badges. If you are certified in Scrum on DevOps, you will get your badge. And of course, at any given point in time, if you have any question, our customer service is there for you. We have toll-free numbers for the US and other countries, and you can also reach them via chat. Dan, back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Victoria. And I just wanted to give everybody a chance that's on the call right now or on the webinar, an opportunity to ask questions. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, if you move your cursor down there, you should have a little pop-up menu come up that says Q&A. If anybody has any questions for Victoria or for Global Knowledge in general, we'd be really happy to go ahead and answer those for you. Here at Global Knowledge, we do provide the Scrum training and the PeopleCert DevOps training that Victoria has been talking about. And in addition to that, the IDLE training that she was referring to as it works in coordination with DevOps. So, you know, IDLE enabling DevOps and DevOps improving IDLE. I'll go ahead and hold on for a few minutes and see if we get any questions in, Victoria. So thank you so much for that excellent presentation. I really appreciate it. And we'll hold on for just about 2 minutes and see if we get any questions.
Thank you a lot, Dan, for inviting me here. And as we wait, I cannot stress enough how valuable it is for all of us to invest in ourselves and for organizations to invest in their people. We've seen, and I'm sure Global Knowledge can also attest to that, the change it makes when we start investing in our people, and we don't just tell them, tomorrow I'm agile. We are telling them, tomorrow we will become agile together, and I will give you the knowledge, the skills, and the vision so that we can go there hand in hand and we will support each other.
Victoria, we did get one question. JT asked, can we get access to the slide deck?
I can share with you a PDF version of the slides later in the day so that you can share along with the recording and include it in the email that everyone is going to get.
Okay. Yeah. So if Victoria, if you want to share that with me, I can share it out, or our marketing department can share it out with those who are interested in getting a copy of the deck. For those who are interested in getting a copy of the deck, you can email me. My email is dan.stober, STOBER, @globalknowledge.com. danstober @globalknowledge.com, and I'll be happy to forward you a copy of the presentation. All right, well, we don't have any more questions. So Victoria, I guess we can go ahead and wrap it up. Again, on behalf of Global Knowledge, I want to say thank you. Thank you for presenting to us today about, how to make your agile transformation more successful using Scrum and DevOps. And I'd like to thank all of our attendees for taking time out of your day to join us. So thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. And everybody have a good rest of your day or evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everyone, for your time, and wishing you a pleasant day, afternoon, or evening. And hope we will do more of those in the future.
All right, we certainly will. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you.
Bye now.